What point do we start in on this? Should we just start talking?
Now.
Oh, no,
Go.
no. Okay, got it. Hey, welcome back to God's Country America, Stillwater, Oklahoma, also known as the Red Dirt Riviera, and the greatest. What did they say before? We have more national championships than any other college. 42 national championships, and also the place of pilgrimage for many people in the state of Oklahoma who are coming to Stillwater to see these magnificent churches we have built for the glory of God.
All are welcome.
All are welcome. Well, this is Father Kerry, the pastor of St. John Catholic Student Center, and I'm here with my sidekick and housemate and friend and priest, Father Brian.
Oh.
The guy with two first names.
That was weird.
What? No, it wasn't all weird. Well, last week, we had dedication. We talked about dedication.
We did. I liked it.
And then school is out now. That's how quickly this all came to an end.
School is out for most. Stillwater High School and Perkins Tryon High School graduations are this week.
Oh yeah, college Dunskies. And this is what happened. You know, our old church, God rest its soul, Old Brownie, also known as the former St. John. When students, when they were graduating, they didn't really bring their parents over. Maybe 5 or 6 of the graduating seniors would bring but now it's like truckloads of people are bringing
Yeah.
I'm going to bring my parents over to show them the church. It's like, great.
Yeah, that's what we want.
That is
Well done.
Well, that is what we want. Well, it's glory to God.
Do you have any regrets?
And in building this,
Yeah.
or in anything
Like
in it?
like now that you've lived in it for 3 weeks, are you like, oh man?
No,
Oh, good.
no. I've been in that building a lot. Remember when I said I've spent 100 hours in the last 3 days in this
I
building?
remember.
That's what I felt like.
That was funny.
That was at the dedication. I was like, I feel like, and I looked at Timmy. I've spent 100 hours in this church in the last 3 days, and him and I both laughed.
Over the last 72 hours, I've spent 100 hours. That was funny.
Yeah, it felt like it though. I was wore out, but then anyway.
Yeah, but you guys thought, you thought it through.
Yeah.
Right.
This what are we talking about today? What we got anything on the docket? I still have a torn calf muscle, and I'm gonna be, as you're listening to this, I'm on the way to Poland to a pilgrimage. So say a prayer. Say a prayer for us college students and me, who are leading these sweet children through Poland for 10 days.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
We're landing in Zakopane, and we're going to spend it. It's like Zakopane is like the Alps of Poland. So we're spend a couple days there, and then sort of make the pilgrimage to Czestochowa, to Auschwitz-Birkenau, to the shrine of, that's at Czestochowa, the shrine of the Black Madonna. And then we're going to see all these really cool saints and museums and have some really fantastic meals, all that good stuff. I was looking forward to running in the Tatar Mountains, which is what I know.
Who isn't?
Yeah, I know. And then this calf muscle is wearing me out. So y'all say a prayer for them. It's freaky. I'm going to bring my sneaks just in case. Just in case.
So that'll be good.
Yeah.
And then you're going on sabbatical. Let's do it next time.
Sabbatical. Yeah.
We should do a whole thing on what is the deal? What's the deal with pre-sabbatical?
I know. I was asked the question.
The best thing is that, as soon as that was announced, people are like, is he okay?
And you're like, no, he's 2 left turns away from a psychiatric ward. I was listening to a song called Multiple Personality. That's him. I want to talk about something. You I don't know what you do on social media.
What do you mean?
But you garnered up a storm of a couple weeks ago.
Slightly.
With a tweet, and the tweet went something like this.
I
ain't got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Jackson Owl to the rescue. And it says,
so let me put it in context. Okay.
Oh wait. Okay.
So I have a Twitter account.
Okay. I want
F.R. O'Brien.
No, dude, his handle is this. Sweet Baby Ray O'Brien. I don't know why you chose that. What? Sweet Baby Ray? Is that your favorite barbecue?
So Twitter, I got on Twitter, I don't know, probably 10 years ago as like as a news source. And really I got on it sort of like, just stuff going on in the church, stuff going on in the sorry, my phone's ringing.
Yeah.
And stuff going on like in sports.
Yeah.
Like I could follow Boston College, I could follow the Houston Astros, I could follow the Texans, I could follow all these things. Well, it turns out it's a pretty decent tool it can be. It can also be, as people call it, a hell site. But it can be a pretty decent tool for evangelization, of just spreading the good news of the church, of the teachings of the church, things that are going on. So I got on it when I was at Bishop Kelly as a way to promote the school, and it did. So then I moved here, and and I had to kind of change. Anyway, so I periodically will post things about sort of life as a priest, observations about, things in the church, and then trying to draw attention to the life of the parish. So on this particular day, and it was not just a day, it was like, I don't know, it's just kind of, I would say, not in a bad way, but like the last year there's been a lot, Part of it is like the honeymoon is over at the new parish. We're getting into kind of, difficult decisions and personnel stuff, and just trying to kind of the life in the parish, as beautiful as it is, can be kind of a grind. When people say like, well, how's the parish going? I often will respond like, no, we're just, kind of day by day, blocking and tackling. It's kind of that fundamentals of just every day taking care of people, and then also trying to look ahead and do the best that we can. But then what happens in the life of a parish, and this, and that is, there's a lot of opinions. There can be gossip. And there can be misinformation. And so you put those things together, and what it begins to wear on a person. And then I would say, generally speaking, self-revelatory here is like, I don't really have like that thick of a skin, And I don't know if that's because I was like the youngest child, or, I don't know. There's probably all kinds of reasons for it. But when people sort of come at you from lots of different angles about what we should be doing, or what the parish should look like, or what you should have done. So a lot of it is, hindsight is 20/20, like why did we do that? One example is like kind of like Catholic Charities. So right now, we brought in Catholic Charities here in Stillwater. We had a good thing going, but then the person running it here in Stillwater died suddenly. COVID happened. And then it turned out that what we thought was going to work didn't work as well. And so we pushed pause, and so right now Catholic Charities is not active in Stillwater. Well, people look at that and they're like, well, what happened? And I'm like, well, the person who was running it died suddenly, and COVID, and it didn't work as well as we thought of. Maybe for those reasons, maybe for others. But people are quick to well, why did we even do it? Why did we spend all this money? And it's like, well, the person in charge of it died, COVID, and so you explain, but then sometimes people don't read it, or read what you put out, and so it starts to kind of weigh. And I'm the pastor, and so things obviously fall on my lap, and so on this one particular day, I sat down and I wrote out a tweet, and I don't regret it because I think it's true.
I love I'm reading the responses right now.
I think people should be aware of it. And it's not just my own experience. Father Kerry, you know priests. You went to college. You went to seminary, Conception in Missouri, and then in Denver. Yep, I went to St. Meinrad in Indiana. So we know priests all over the country. We know the priests of our own diocese, some of whom are really having a hard time. We know priests in other places, many of whom are having a hard time. And it doesn't seem to be getting better. There's polarization in the church. There can be kind of a lack of accountability.
Gosh, look, there aren't hundreds of people that responded to this.
There aren't a lot of, there aren't as many resources for priests. There are now more Catholics. So we have more people, which is great. We're now doing things in multiple languages. And priests have like kind of been given the task of being kind of mini like CEOs of like small businesses. And are we trained to do that?
Yeah.
Or are we supposed to learn on the job? So there's all these sort of hosts. Okay, that's the context. Do you want to read it?
I one of my favorite ones. It was like a mom and dad. It was someone who wrote a joke. And he's like, it reminds me of a joke of a mom and dad walking out of church and complaining about the homily, and their 12-year-old son said, "What do you expect for $1 a week?" Like,
that's not true. Our people are awesome.
Yeah, that's right. This is.
So what happens on Twitter, if you're not familiar with Twitter, is you can post something, and then people can respond, or people can like quote it, like they send it out to all their people. But the killer number on there, Twitter now says like how many people have seen it.
Yeah,
like its views.
And how many people have seen it? 124,000. 144,000 views.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of views. Okay, so I just went through it.
Did you read it?
I just took a look at it, and I have.
What was the tweet?
That was the funny tweet, and it was right down there of the.
But did you read it?
Oh, I didn't read it. Oh, sorry, I didn't. I was reading all the jokes, and I was reading all the statements, and some of them were just, I mean, absolutely dumb. It's like, pull your head out of your butt. Come on, seriously, people, you have no idea what a Catholic priest does.
And I think that's where.
Did I just say that? Okay, here it is from Father Brian O'Brien at Fr. O'Brien. The expectations on parish priests in the United States are not realistic. The church in the U.S. should expect early retirements, more sabbatical requests, more priests actively thinking about leaving, and others who will burn out. I'll read it again so you just hear it.
That's it.
The expectations of parish priests in the United States are not realistic. The church in the U.S. should expect early retirements, more sabbatical requests, more priests actively thinking about leaving, and others who will burn out. Okay, well written, O'Brien. Is
that true?
Yeah. I'm just thinking of like all the church closures around the United States because of the ethnic churches in the United States, where sort of like people went their separate ways, and the Irish and the French churches across the street, and so people were like, oh my gosh, like we have to save these, but we don't have enough priests to cover all those parishes because those people left, and those ethnic groups are no longer there. So a business model restructuring of the church in the United States, I don't think goes to the megachurch model that the Protestants chose, because that doesn't seem to be working for them. It doesn't seem to be bringing more Christians into the fold. So a restructuring, a new way of thinking has to be done about this. And, like I have buddies in the Priesthood Fraternity of St. Peter, and buddies in the Institute of Christ the King, and their parishes are tiny. They have 2 priests for 400 people. Your home parish in Houston, Texas, has how many Catholic priests?
8,000 families.
How many priests?
Two priests.
8,000.
So that's 8 times the size of St. Francis Xavier.
And they have the
same number of priests.
Yeah, and so we have at St. John about 700 college students that come to Mass, if you put it all together. And we have 2 priests. Okay. The fraternity parish, Most Precious Blood in Tulsa, has probably 300 families.
Yeah, something like that.
And they have 2 priests.
Yep.
Like, okay, great. Now, what do we do to help out these like larger parishes? Or do they need help? Or do you need to start building smaller parishes and restructure this whole model of doing church organizational business so that priests can get back to what we're supposed to be doing. It was in the reading from the Acts of the Apostles last Sunday, and it said, why did they select deacons? And it's because, at the first time I read
That's my favorite line in all of Scripture. Even some priests were becoming obedient to the faith.
I found it funny because I was listening to, I listened to it and then I read it and I thought, these 12 apostles are just lazy bums. Like, that's what they're doing. They're just lazy bums, and they're just like, okay, they're saints, of course, so they're not lazy bums. Okay, why would you invent deacons then? Why would you invent this order of the clergy that didn't exist? And I thought about it all week, and I prayed about it, and I said, but what is the 12 apostles wanting to do? It's not that they want to ignore the poor and the hungry and those people who need money. They need to do what their number one job is prayer. It says prayer and the ministry of the word. That's their job. Prayer and ministry of the word. And the role of a priest, if we're priests like the 12 apostles are priests, then we have a role which is prayer and the ministry of the word. Yes, there are all these other things. We also have to have people helping us out. Luckily, I have an amazing staff and fantastic volunteers, just like you.
Yeah,
and
that definitely helps. And I think my, it kind of coming out of that, kind of reflecting on what I wrote and like responses to that, and then I mean I'm, priests, like we get, like everybody, you kind of go through ups and downs or moments of like frustration or, sort of feeling like, oh, like this is like, is this worth it? Is it? And like it's not like a cry for help, and it's not like, oh no, is his vocation in trouble? Like, no. But I think just the idea, and I think our podcast kind of helps for those who listen. Like, I guess I just want to say that like it's harder than it looks. Is that accurate? Because I think people don't see like the stuff in between, So like, Sunday. I mean, and I don't think I've ever met anyone who thinks this. But the old idea, like, what does Father do all week?
Sleeps
like
in the back pew
in between Sundays. And I actually find Sundays I wake up later on Sundays. On Sundays, I wake up at 6.
Oh. Okay.
And on weekdays, I wake up at 5.
Yeah.
I look forward to Sundays because like it's like another a little extra hour.
Yeah.
Sundays are busy, but are I don't know, are just kind of more focused. But during the week, the days, they're just like really full. And so then so this is my frustration is you have sort of a full day where but when that's funerals, marriage prep, administrative meetings, building related things.
Yep.
And then like someone sort of like drops a bomb on you about something that so I'll give you an example. This happened last week. I get a call from a parishioner who heard from somebody else that there was this family and this family that I had gone to see several months ago. They're home, like kind of homebound.
Yep.
And we have somebody go every week.
Okay.
From this parish, visits them, prays with them, and brings them Holy Communion. Well, I saw them a few months ago. This person heard it from this other person, and it came to me that the sort of the rumor among this sort of friend group was, and their priests only have only visited them once. And I was like, what? I mean, that's true. But the parish is there someone is there every week.
Yeah.
Well, I find that stuff like massively frustrating.
Insulting.
It's insulting. Because
how many people do you have homebound?
50.
Okay. And how many hours does it take to do a homebound visit?
2.
I know none of this. I'm asking you.
Yeah. I mean, to get there, visit. Yeah. And like really visit. Like, and anoint them and bring Holy Communion. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm really good at math numbers and times of day. How many hours are in a day? I mean, it's a month's worth of work just to
Yeah.
visit the homebound. If you were to do it
And
and
it's
start over again,
It's hard, yeah. It's hard, and it's rewarding and beautiful, and we do it. I mean, that's the thing, is like we do it. But also we do it when people request it. So anyway, so you just like those kind of things, and then I'm like, man, why does that bother me so much? But it does.
yeah.
Like
Okay.
it's kind of insulting. It's, I think, kind of like, and we're not in it like for the recognition, but like, really, like that's what you're coming with, or like and you've done this where like you put sort of your heart and soul into something, an event of some sort, and like it's good and it
Yep.
turns out well, and then like after someone sort of lobs in, well, I really wish it would have started at 6 instead of 7. And you're just like, now I think we have it easy compared to many, because in our parishes, we have a lot of support and good people.
Yep.
I feel bad for priests who are having to close parishes, merge parishes,
Yeah.
who are sort of overseeing sort of the death of a parish.
Yeah. Oh, that's terrible.
And then on the other side, I look at my whole parish in Houston, which is just massive. Those guys,
Worn out like rented mules.
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna throw this one at you. Given that we're gonna go down this road, so I'm taking a sabbatical. We were sitting here on this right here in this living room. I don't know about 9 months ago, when that priest came to do the wedding
January 2022
from Bismarck.
Yep.
So it wasn't 9 months ago.
It was January 2022.
So, and he just looked at me and he goes, "You need a sabbatical after you finish this building project." I was like, "What?" And that was like God's divine foreknowledge that he put into that dude to tell me that, because I need one. I can feel it. And I mean, I'm not a lazy bum. I try to be holy. I pray a lot.
You're not.
So anyway, that was a really an interesting moment, because then I asked why, and he said, you need to change your gears on the way you're thinking from just fundraising, building, to being a pastor of a parish again. The hardest thing, what I hear from my buddies, and I'm kind of jealous, is they go to work every day, and when they come home from work, they're done with work, and they get to spend time with their family. I in a way, if you were a priest, and it would go like this, if you were a priest and you were married, this is why when I was given the option as a Byzantine to get married, I had already discerned priestly celibacy already. But it looked like this: 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m. I'm praying, working out, and getting ready for liturgy, getting ready for Mass. And then it's meetings, evangelization, and then stuff in the evening. Like it goes like, I was just out at a baseball game with Carly and Blake Bostic the other day. And I said, this is the first time on a Sunday I've been out of the building before 9:30 p.m.
Yep.
I show up, I get there at 7:30 to make sure everything's working in the building, and I finish about 9:30 p.m. and I go home. And that's not it's not odd that
Yep.
happens. One day a week I take my day off, my Sabbath. But what I'm jealous with my friends who work is they go home and it's like done. They get to hang out with their kids. They get to take their kids to sports. Yeah, I mean, some of those tweets were like, Dad and Mom never get off, or are we just going to take a sabbatical? Well, you can also, I mean, you can tell your kids you're not playing sports. You can tell your kids you're doing your homework. What about, I mean, this is my life, when 40 of your friends' best friends show up and like, can we come to dinner too? And you're like, what? I mean, it is a beautiful life. I love being a priest. I'm not complaining about it being like, oh my gosh, I wish I had become a priest. No, it's beautiful and I love it. I think we need a different business model to take this from good to great. It's like, what do we do best in the world at? What do priests do best in the world at? And that's why we need, I mean, like,
Yeah,
in these especially in the remote towns like Robert Duck, he's got 3 parishes. It's like, who helps him with that administration so he can go do an evangel? There was that shooting down there in Henrietta. It's like, how is he given the ability to go out and minister to people when he's like, I got to cancel all these events in order to go do that and minister to these people. It's tough. And so people complain like, oh, like, well, we can't understand our priests. They're from Nigeria or Vietnam or somewhere in Central Africa, or, they're South Americans and we can't understand them. It's like, well, y'all need, at the heart of it, to encourage your children to sacrifice their lives. Because, like, I think in the United States, we don't know how to sacrifice until blood gets spilt of martyrdom. And I doubt there will be very few, because most Catholics are so comfortable not sacrificing their lives. Even on the left and the right, the tradies and the liberals are both, they're in their lanes. Are we willing to give our lives over to service of the church? If we really believe this is Jesus's church, then we should be asking our priests, how can I help you so that you can do the thing that only you can do, which is help this place grow in holiness? Sorry.
Wow.
Don't put that in a tweet.
I won't. I'm just listening.
I mean, I think of Wolf down there at the shrine.
Oh, yeah. It's wild.
Yeah. Oklahoma City. It's like, I mean, I think we have enough priests in the Diocese of Tulsa to run our show. I don't think Oklahoma City does. Well, Houston definitely doesn't.
We could use a few more.
Yeah, we could always use a few more. And we do. We have, 14, 17 guys in 700 now.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing in that, so I think there's sort of a twofold answer here. And part of it is us, and then part of it is whoever might be listening to this. So on us, and this is something I got kind of challenged on this, in the moment it was like uncomfortable and like made me, for lack of being articulate, it made me feel bad. Like a challenge from a parishioner who I love and respect, and it was like you gotta like let stuff go. Like you're trying to kind of have your hand in,
let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go.
And so so it was an uncomfortable conversation, but one that, that I'm glad took place.
Yeah.
So what happened out of that are kind of, numerous things. I sort of pulled out of a couple different things, trusting that the people doing it, so basically they're gonna keep me informed.
Yep.
But they're doing it. Started up, a couple other different things, and working on, so passing along to others certain things, both to kind of free up the schedule to be able to have some more downtime, but then also to be available for the things that in a parish. Who are the only people who can celebrate Mass? You. Priests. Who are the only people who can hear confessions?
You.
Priests. We're not the only people who can do weddings and baptisms. Deacons can do that. But who knows finances the best?
Not me.
Not priests, right? So I think that's on us. And then I would say, to your point, the challenge to the people is to be helpful. How can I be helpful to kind of do in the best sense, sort of do your job, which is to be a holy and wonderful lay person, be generous to the church, not just with your money, but with your time and talent. And then I think the other thing is, when I would just say this, before you sort of lob out a bomb of criticism about an event or something happening in the parish, it's not that we don't invite that, because we want to get better. I think we both do. But like, how is it coming across? Is it going to be helpful, or not?
Yeah.
And then I think the time, the same is true in like marriages. When your spouse gets home from work, you don't sort of jump right in with everything that's wrong with them. And so kind of the time and the place, I think is important. Right after Mass, not the time.
Yeah. And we got to be able to do the thing that we need to do, which is say, Father in heaven, what do you want to do to build up your kingdom here? And I can't do that if
And
I'm
what's
smoking.
my role?
Yep, exactly. It's our job as priests.
All right. There it is.
Boom shakalaka.
See you next week.
Peace.